It's another beautiful day at the castle. Significantly chillier this morning, but that's okay. We actually like it when it's a little bit cooler. Hot honestly sucks when you're doing this type of work. We got several things we can do today, but I have some specific thoughts in my head as to what we need to do today. Let's go check it out. Okay, now that we have the subfloor down, as you guys saw in the last video, we've got a couple of pieces to put in. Eric's going to mark this board out, chalk it, and get those two pieces in. And we all have to remember that is not really subfloor, even though it's subfloor. But over on that side, that's the gable end. This is the gable end. These essentially are the bottom plates to the wall that's going to get framed up to the top of that, and then that roof is going to carry all the way out to that end. But we got to land in this area with the next flight of steps that originally were planned to look just like those, but that dumps you out 10 foot from whichever wall it is up against. And we got to land in between these two 2x4s over there on the other side of that double joist, maybe that way some. But this double joist is in the exact same location as that one down there that essentially is the edge of the steps that my finger is running along. So we know those steps come all the way over to this double joist. And if that dumps us 10 foot out, when we pull off of the ICF wall over 10 feet, it's gonna dump us out right there, which is 1 1/4 inch from our wall. I don't know about you guys, but I can't fit in 1 1/4 inch. So now what it really comes down to is the headspace of the attic portion, which we know is 1.5 inches taller than this wall. So if we stretch our tape measure out here, realistically we're going to be, and I got to add 3/4 of that because I'm not setting on plywood. It goes to 50, so 1.5 plus 3/4, 52 1/4. Well, I'm pretty confident 52 1/4 is not 84 inches. 84 inches is the amount of headroom we need. And I didn't know how all this was going to turn out. This line here is our exit or entrance to this flight of steps that take you to that room. So we know for a fact we should have from the double joist to that line. So we have 54 3/4 of an inch to that line. This here, we know we can make sure we have enough headroom because we're framing all the way up to there. But if my steps dump me out 1 inch from that wall, I can't get to this portion because those steps were supposed to run basically over, hit a platform at the ICF, step up on another platform which gets you to that corner, and then you take the stringer up to this elevation. So I've got two options. Actually I have three options. Do the exact same thing again, which dumps us out this 1.5 inch mark. Frame this wall over to a certain point, which should be the double joist, turn 90 and go over to create a 3-foot area. Now again, another vertical wall that gable end comes over and hits, and then we transfer those rafters over to that 36 inch point, so we have an inside corner right here, then it comes over and then it shoots back across, and we just have some really short rafters here, and that vertical wall comes all the way up, which means that roof, let's say it's 6 foot wide now, it comes down here and it ends up at this intersection point 9 foot in this area. I'm not for sure I like that. Option 2 is to make the rise taller so it doesn't take 10 feet to get up to the platform. Let's say it takes 6 feet. So now I'm shortening that up by 8 feet total because it's -4 twice. So now I'm shortening up my total stroke by 8 feet. But now the question mark is, does the rise get too tall? Does that turn into a 12-inch tall rise? And that's not. Optimum is 7.5-inch rise, 10-inch run or tread. I'm not for sure we're going to achieve that. So option 3 is down here on the second level, turn the steps, and you enter into the step over here. Then you hit a platform against the ICF wall, turn 90, up on another platform, turn 90, and then you're coming back directly at us, which would dump us out in the center. So the steps would be 3 feet wide and then get wider wall to wall up here. And I'm not opposed to that. That might be what we do, but I got to figure out how much space in that room it's going to take, because again, that's 10 foot out and we're a 20-foot addition. So we're going to take half of the addition and turn it into stairwell, also over 6 foot wide. Or I turn the steps, make my rise a little taller to shorten up that 10 foot. So we've got a bunch of options. We just really don't know how this is going to tie together. So Eric's going to get the plywood down. That gives you guys the, oh my gosh, that's what I got to figure out in my head as to how to tie all this together now. And keep in mind, the addition went to the corner of the castle, and the addition goes over to the inside corner of that masonry wall. But this bump out is not centered. We have less distance over here than we have over there for our rafters. These will be shorter rafters, but that same 4 foot up basically is what the dimension's supposed to be. So now it's offset, which also throws another wrench into the system. But it's the castle. Why don't we expect craziness? We should expect craziness by now, right? I mean, it's just constant.
Every which way you
turn, there's something else you have to figure out. So basically I have 4 set points, and I need 84 inches of headroom to get up those steps without hitting your head on any of the rafters. I knew for a fact that my steps would be in the rafter space, and I'm not opposed to that, taking this wall over and then going up and forming in, essentially framing in a doorway. I'm not worried about that, but my exit point I am worried about now at this point that we've taken some dimensions. So we got to figure that out. Eric's gonna get the plywood in. I'm gonna go ahead and cut 2 stringers for this so we can get our stringers in here and start trying to figure out how that's truly gonna fall into place. And then we can start taking some dimensions and determining what all we got to do over in here. So we're gonna put you guys on time lapse. You're gonna get to watch Eric put some plywood in, and I'm gonna scratch my head a little bit longer and figure out how the bottom steps are gonna feed the top steps, if any of that makes sense. So anyway, let's get this going. All right, we have done some determinations on the steps. We're going to do some fancy, interesting stuff there. What we do know is from the subfloor to the top of the plywood is 72 inches, also known as 6 feet. I have that written there. 72 inches divided by 10 steps, that's going to be 7.2, right? Yep, 7.2. So we need 7.2 or 50 thousandths shy of a quarter of an inch of a rise. In order to do that, we're going to get 10 of them, move one step away from that. So we need 9 7.2 inch rise. And we all know the power of YouTube, obviously. And the last time what I showed you guys was cutting a 2x8 down to make a triangle and then mounting it to a 2x6, and you just slide it up and down the 2x12. Well, a lot of people recommended getting the buttons for my speed square, or my framing square. My concern with that is these boards aren't that consistent. So I saw another guy that made a jig, and I made this on the job site. I took this 2x4, I ripped it down to basically 3/4 of an inch, and then I cut it in half. So what I'm gonna do is, I know I need 7.2, and I also know that my tread will be 10 inches. So if you come over here to the handy dandy framing square, 7 1/4 is there. We're going to be a little shy of that. 10 inches is right there. So if I screw these two together, it should pinch that, and then all I have to do is trace this triangle. Put you guys on the stand over here. Let's see how well this works. I've never done it before, but I did see it on YouTube, so it has to work, right? Now we're going to put a few screws in it. Line it up here. Slide our square in. Loosen that up just a little. Got her a little too tight. Looking for 7 1/4 and 10. Well, 7 200 thousandths. Sawdust blowing everywhere. The wind's crazy today. There's my 10. Another screw in this end. Whoop, almost split that one. Almost made it too tight. We're held. Confirm our 10. Dead nuts 10. Looks like that could be, that's pretty darn close. So let's tighten this one back down. And personally, throw one in the middle, just as an extra. Oh look, I screwed it to my 2x12. Looks like a couple of those were a little longer than what I expected. It's not gonna go anywhere. Flop it on there. Mark your 10, mark your 7. Slide it up, mark your 10, mark your 7. And since I did have to loosen them, I'm gonna check it again. I actually like this one better than the, looks like I could be a hair deeper on the 7. let's see. Let's do some math real quick and see what that equals. 11875. So we're just a little bit shy there. Make that just a hair longer. Just a hair too far. I know you guys are going to say, I could already add my buttons on there. You're probably right, but I don't think the buttons are going to be as consistent when you're running across the face of the board. There it is right there. Confirm our 10 again. 10 inches. So now you just start on one side of your board, mark it, and then I believe when you get to your other side, to square that up, you'll be able to flip it over and square up your bottom line. Let's see how this goes. You slide her up on there, bump it nice and snug. Slide her up, meet your intersection point. Slide her up, meet your intersection point. One, two, three. 4. 5. 6. Let's scoot you guys back a little bit. 6, 7. 8. And 9. You know, I like that.
Huh?
I said I like this.
Is it better than the other one?
Absolutely. Then we'll measure up our 7.5 and cut that straight off. I think that works pretty good. We just have 5 more to do. Boy, oh boy, am I on the struggle bus today. I can't win today. Batteries are acting crazy. I don't have a corded skill saw, so I didn't think it'd be a problem because I've got like 10 batteries, but I had a charger break. It stopped charging batteries. So we were down to one battery charger, and when you're trying to cut five stringers with a battery powered skill saw, brand new blade, it's only been used a few times, so it's not the blade's fault. Then I had the third stringer cut, and I guess I had it too close to the edge of the ladder. The wind blew it off, down over the edge it went, broke it. So that was a waste of any usage of a battery. So I'm gonna go buy a corded skill saw or find a corded skill saw. I don't know which. Today's just one of those days, a useless day. I had other plans for tomorrow, but I'll be back here tomorrow working all day to get to the point that I should have been today. However, it's just one of those days. You take a deep breath and you try not to go down there and just walk straight off into that river and take a cold plunge to change your mind. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, like, comment, subscribe.